Alright, this time we'll be looking at the surface area of a cone, but before we get into that, we need to think carefully about labeling the measurements we'll be using, because the measurements we use for surface area are slightly different to the measurements we use for volume. So here we have the radius for the circle, which we call r. Then from the middle of the circle straight to the top, we call the height, which is h. And then the slanty one we call the slant height, and we label that with an L. So there they are. And we don't really need to know all three of them all the time. Given two of them, you can see from this diagram that they are linked by Pythagoras. So actually, we have r squared plus h squared giving you L squared. So sometimes we'll be missing one of them, and you need to use Pythagoras to work out the missing one first. So we'll bring our cone back, and as normal, we want to work out the surface area by adding up each piece of it. We'll start with the easy one. The bottom of the cone is a circle, and its area, of course, is pi r square. But then now we're left with this party hat looking thing. Okay, what we're going to do with this party hat is we're going to cut it open and flatten it into this sector. Okay. Now, there are a few things to notice with this sector. One is that the radius of the sector came from the slant height of the cone, right? If you replay the flattening, you'll see that. So that means the radius is L. The other thing is that the length of the green arc is the old circumference of the cone. Again, replay the flattening if you need to. That would be 2 pi r. Now, why this is helpful is because we don't know the angle of the sector, right? And so normally we use the angle to work out the area, but we don't actually need the angle because what we have here is the length of the arc, so we can use that instead of the angle to work out what fraction of the circle we have. So we have 2 pi r as the length of the arc. The whole way around the circle would be the circumference, which is, well, 2 pi L. And so that would be the whole circle's length, which means the fraction we've got is 2 pi r over 2 pi L. The 2 pi's will cancel, leaving you with just r over L as the fraction of the circle that we've got. So then the area of the sector must be the area of the whole circle, which is pi L square. Then we multiply that by r over L, which is what fraction of the circle we've got. The L down the bottom of the fraction will cancel with one copy of the L's. We have L squared there. So one copy will go away, leaving you just with pi r L. And so the surface area of the cone will be the sum of those pieces, which is pi r square plus pi r L. Okay, and so remember what each of those measurements are. The r is the radius, and the L is the slant height of the cone. Okay, so for this surface area thing, we don't actually use the height of the cone. We don't use how tall it is. We use the slant height, L. Okay, I might show you some examples of this later, but thanks for watching, and I will see you later.